The celebrity of the 3rd Street Saints was put to a violent and destructive test in Stillwater. Patrons of a local bank were subjected to a mock holdup by this internationally popular gang. However, excitement was replaced with panic when shots rang out and blood began to decorate the lobby. During the ensuing firefight, the bank's vault was ripped from the building, showering rubble down onto the bystanders below. The extent of the damage landed the Saints, like so many celebrities before them, in jail, at least for a few hours. This is Jane Valderama with your Celebrity Crime News. Like some hellish children's book, the sky has fallen in Steelport. 10 people are dead after several cars came raining out of the sky, crushing an apartment building in a fiery blaze. Dozens of bodies, along with a number of crates and mangled vehicles, filled the streets nearby. Looters raided the scene before the police arrived, salvaging car stereos and sex dolls from the debris. The city morgue has not released the names of the victims killed in what seems to be a mid-air accident, and no plane wreckage has been found. This is Jane Valderama with your Steelport Disaster Report. A light rain can refresh the soul and wash away the stains of the day. When that rain is several tons of metal, the stains are all that's left of the people caught in the downpour. Several National Guard helicopters suffered from some form of malfunction during what officials are saying was a training exercise. Though several eyewitnesses report one helicopter carrying what looked like a bomb, no confirmation is being given. The wreckage is being cleared away and taken for further analysis in the hopes such an event will never happen again. This is Jane Valderama with your Steelport breaking news. For those who work in retail, life can be full of monotonous sales and customers that make one wish torture was legal. However, for a few employees of Planet Saints, life recently became more worth the pain. The leader of the Saints and Japanese commercial superstar Pierce Washington stopped by to do a little shopping. Though no autographs were signed for the hard workers at the store, shoppers were treated to a show of skill when an enraged man attacked the Saints after they exited the store. The ensuing fight showed bystanders the Saints had not gone soft as international celebrities. This is Jane Valderama with your Steelport Celebrity News. Parties with the rich and famous usually involve expensive champagne, recreational drugs, and numerous hookers. Now, gunfights can be added to that list. Shots were fired in a downtown penthouse apartment, resulting in several deaths and at least one noise complaint filed by a neighbor. The reason for the violence is unknown. However, some guests were seen fleeing the scene after a fight broke out. Among the attendees were several local and foreign businessmen, as well as a reported appearance from the Saints. This is Jane Valderama with your Steelport Celebrity Crime Report. Black Friday takes on a different meaning today as the popular gun boutique Powder was stormed by a band of armed assailants. While shoppers fled in terror, the attackers looted and pillaged the smoking ruin. At this time, it is uncertain what exactly these delinquents were looking for, but it clearly wasn't on sale. This is Jane Valderama with your Steelport Bargain Hunting News. The skyline of Steelport has been forever changed with the destruction of one of downtown's largest skyscrapers. As if a piece of a puzzle has gone missing, sucked up in the vacuum of destruction, this towering building was destroyed by what police are saying was a large bomb. The blast originated from the loading dock of the massive structure, suggesting a delivery gone horribly wrong. Police are beginning the effort to sort through the evidence being pulled out of the rubble, though the extent of the damage does not leave much hope for finding those responsible. This is Jane Valderama with your Steelport Skyline Update. Like an action-adventure movie, citizens of Steelport are being terrorized by a giant boulder. The several-ton object escaped from an office building downtown when the cables for a counterweight snapped and sent this rolling ball of death out into the streets. Though an elevator was crushed during the fall, rescue workers were unable to pry apart the metal to determine if anyone was inside. The presence of what appeared to be blood suggested the worst. At this time, city officials are uncertain how this new menace will be removed before more people find themselves crushed under its enormous weight. This is Jane Valderama with your Steelport Terror Report. For most people, sexual fetishes are left in the bedroom or the brothel. However, citizens here in Steelport were recently exposed to the darker side of the equestrian world. Several pony carts were used as getaway vehicles during a shootout on the streets of the city. The carts, pulled by people dressed in leather straps and wearing bridles, turned the heads of both the disgusted and the aroused. Not one witness could give a description of the drivers who were shooting each other, most stating they were too busy trying to figure out how the horsetails were attached. This is Jane Valderama with your Steelport recreational news. Prostitution. Most people see the danger from this oldest of professions as being a venereal one. However, in downtown Steelport, the danger was far more disturbing. A penthouse party turned into a bloodbath as seemingly regular hookers pulled more than lube from their bags. Police report that the women entered the premises with the intent to kill all the partygoers, only to be gunned down themselves. Many lonely customers will be left alone on the streets of the city tonight. This is Jane Valderama with your Steelport Vice News. Has a moral crusader infiltrated the Steelport sex scene? This is the question asked by Viola de Winter, owner of the sex club Safe Word. An adult auction turned bloody as a nude gunman besieged the popular night spot, liberating the prostitutes being held there. These ladies of the night wasted no time in exacting a bloody revenge on their former pimps. One survivor described the scene as a riot of rabid bitches trying to cut off my cock. For that lover of the alternative lifestyle, it seems, things have gotten too extreme. This is Jane Valderama with your Steelport Swingers Scene News. With the hope of an impromptu fireworks display, people looked up, only to see falling gun shells raining down into their eyes. The apparent theft of a cargo container gave citizens a scare as gunfire was heard in the skies above Steelport. Several helicopters flew through the city, dodging bullets coming from rooftops throughout the area. The contents of the container are unknown, though several people on the ground report it was leaking what they describe as smelling like urine. This is Jane Valderama with your Steelport Import News. As if Steelport was an enemy nation, military vehicles rolled into the streets while troops deployed all over the city. This invasion of armed forces, known as the Stag Initiative, vows to end the death and destruction that has plagued our streets. Upon their arrival, a raid was conducted on a popular nightclub where the head of one such criminal organization was said to be hiding. Several people were shot and killed in the ensuing firefight, while property damage is estimated in the hundreds of thousands. This is Jane Valderama with your Steelport Safety Update. What rebellious teenager didn't go joyriding in their parents' car, blowing off steam and staining the back seat? However, the theft of a military aircraft caused more than a 2-week grounding. The unknown suspect unloaded the plane's weapons onto both Stag outposts and city streets, destroying millions in military and civilian vehicles and property. Roadblocks were destroyed entirely, and a public park was filled with the bodies of the soldiers who tried to stop the chaos. This is Jane Valderama with your Steelport Crime Report. Tween girls cried out in heartbreak as the rumor of Josh Burke's kidnapping spreads. The idolized actor who portrays the vigilante vampire Nightblade was reportedly forced out of the studio at gunpoint and thrown into the back of a vehicle. At this time, it is unclear if Burke is alive or dead. Support sites are popping up on the internet by the hour, begging those responsible to let the actor go, while opponents of the violence seen on the show are claiming this is karmic retribution. This is Jane Valderama with your Steelport Celebrity Gossip. When you have to rob a bank in order to pay for an apartment in downtown Steelport, one expects the comfort and security such a price should bring. However, several residents in downtown were surprised when a massive stag operation destroyed the penthouse loft on top of their building. Military planes, explosive devices, and enough firepower to occupy a small country were used in this latest example of Stag's fight against gang activity in the city. Commander Cyrus Temple has commented that the operation was a success, though he would not give a statement on any plans to aid the innocent residents affected by the destruction. This is Jane Valderama with your Steelport Community News. Angered over Eddie Killbane Pryor's exclusive interview, members of the 3rd Street Saints confronted several of his associates, gunning them down in an abandoned office building. Your very own Jane Valderama cornered these now infamous killers to ask them their thoughts on the accusations of the self-proclaimed philanthropist. While the conversation was punctuated with guns waving threateningly, the message was clear. The Saints want to end Killbane's life. The reasons behind this murderous intent did not come out, though the recent release of a video showing their involvement in the destruction of a memorial bridge in Stillwater may have sparked their ire. This is Jane Valderama, risking life and limb for you, Steelport. Like a high-tech hot potato, one of the most powerful supercomputers in North America has been taken from Stag by the Deckers, who have now lost it to the Saints. Remarkably, it appears that the computer took no damage during these violent exchanges, and the Saints are believed to have it secured in an undisclosed location. There is no official word regarding the Saints' plans for the computer, but rumors are beginning to swirl around an ambitious new spin on virtual reality porn. Stay tuned for further details. This is Jane Valderama with your Steelport Mobile Computing News. Gang tensions went nuclear today as rivals rumbled in a popular Steelport roller park. When the Saints arrived at the former nuclear plant that had been renovated by the Deckers, tensions mushroomed into a firestorm of violence. Now that slightly irradiated bodies are flooding the city's morgues, it appears that purple will be the new color of choice for Steelport skaters. What is the Saints' interest in the nuclear plant? Are they supporting green energy, or do they have more sinister ambitions in mind? We will bring you the latest information as it becomes available. This is Jane Valderama with your Steelport Ecological News. Computer security experts breathed a sigh of relief today as word spread that super hacker Matt Miller has sworn off modern technology and left town. Former associates of Mr. Miller have stated that he has always been fascinated by neo-Luddism and decided it was time to make a change. Some experts in the field have speculated that recent cyber warfare initiatives by Stag and the Saints led to Matt Miller's change of heart. But both organizations were too busy celebrating to comment. This is Jane Valderama with your Steelport Cyber News. Steelport's coastal waters gained a new landmark when the aircraft carrier Thermopylae, operational headquarters for the Stag Initiative, suddenly exploded, scattering wide portions of the wrecked ship over a wide area. Casualties are believed to be surprisingly light. No official cause for the accident has been given, but Stag quickly reassured the city that the ruined nuclear carrier posed no health risk to the city. Commander Temple has shifted his headquarters into Steelport and temporarily restricted the downtown area. All residents are assured that any inconveniences are purely temporary. This is Jane Valderama with your military-approved news. The explosions heard in the sky over Steelport were not, in fact, evidence of an alien invasion. Stag has confirmed that some of their cargo aircraft were involved in a suspicious incident that damaged or destroyed several planes. This incident resulted in a large amount of wreckage, including bodies, raining down over parts of Steelport. The exact cause of the incident is unknown, but the wild rumors of a superhero-like figure smashing the flying planes with a bare fist can surely be discounted. At this time, we cannot estimate the extent of damages caused by this incident. This is Jane Valderama with your Steelport Air Safety Report. With zombies devouring our neighbors' brains and Stag seemingly powerless to stop them, Steelport was in a desperate plight. Mayor Burt Reynolds decided that desperate times call for desperate measures and enlisted the help of the Saints to combat the undead menace. Though details of the Saints' anti-zombie campaign remain sketchy, not even The Walking Dead could withstand the Saints' unparalleled talents for violence and mayhem. Because our gallant mayor rose to the occasion, Steelport can sleep easy tonight knowing our brains are safe. This is Jane Valderama with the Steelport Mortuary Report. Murder Brawl 31 could have a disappointingly thin slate after a series of accidents claimed the lives of several top competitors. Murder Brawl opponents have already seized on these accidents to question the long-term health effects of the sport, claiming that undiagnosed brain injuries combined with the performance-enhancing drugs caused the competitors to fall asleep at the wheel. As is always the case with this exhibition, the additional controversy only raises the anticipation for the next event. While there may be fewer matches, Murder Brawl 31 will still feature the highly anticipated fight between Steelport's own Killbane and the Stillwater Butcher. This is Jane Valderama with the Steelport Sports Entertainment News. The three-count casino, once owned by entertainer-slash-businessman-slash-philanthropist Eddie Killbane Pryor, is apparently under new management. This gambling palace was the target of a recent hostile takeover by the Saints Ultor Media Group and is said to be undergoing some badly needed redecorating. While local senior citizens grew excited over the prospect of looser slots, the most interesting rumors connected with this event are the numerous sightings of the legendary Angel de la Muerte. We will continue to follow this story and bring you any new developments. This is Jane Valderama with Today in Kino. No one who was in attendance will ever forget the incredible spectacle that was Murder Brawl 31. The capacity crowd anticipating a grudge match between Eddie Killbane Pryor and the Butcher of Stillwater was first shocked and delighted by the stunning return of Killbane's former tag team partner, Angel de la Muerte. In the end, it was the Butcher of Stillwater who stole the show by dealing Killbane a crushing and humiliating defeat. This may have been the final page of Killbane's storied career, but with the return of Angel and emergence of the Butcher, Murder Brawl fans are too excited to care. This is Jane Valderama with your Steelport Fight Night News. The beloved Steelport Monument was destroyed during a bloody three-way battle between the Saints, Stag, and the Syndicate. While the future of Stag remains unknown, we can confirm that the rumored leader of the Syndicate, Eddie Killbane Pryor, was brutally murdered by the Saints as he attempted to leave the city. At this time, the Saints appear to be ruling the streets of a city that largely blames them for the worst of the violence. As residents mourn the loss of their neighbors and their monument, it is hard to see how they will ever forget this day and embrace the new dominance of the Saints. This is Jane Valderama with the Steelport Angry Citizens Report. Even as residents of Steelport mourn those who died during the fighting between Stag and the Syndicate, the Saints are being celebrated as heroes. Even Senator Hughes, long a critic of the Saints, has praised the gang for their efforts to end the bloodshed and save the beloved Steelport Monument. While the future of Stag is presently unknown, we can confirm that Eddie Killbane Pryor, thought to be the leader of the Syndicate, has fled Steelport. Considering the record of the Saints' leader, Eddie Pryor may have to run very far indeed to escape the vengeance of the Saints. This is Jane Valderama with the Steelport Body Count Report. Long the subject of rumor, Stag has revealed their ultimate black-budget project, the Daedalus. For a short time, this sky carrier was brutally efficient in destroying Steelport and slaughtering its citizens, but the Saints came to the defense of our city and reduced the behemoth to a twisted pile of smoking wreckage. In a special broadcast, the Saints leader has declared that Steelport is now its own country and ordered all remaining Stag units to leave. Pierce Washington will be overseeing the day-to-day operations. May God help the new city-state of Steelport. This is Jane Valderama with your international politics news. Already acclaimed as cultural icons and urban heroes, the Saints are now adding movie stars to their list of accolades. The science fiction film Gangsters in Space, now in production, appears destined to be one of the biggest budget movies of all time. While we have confirmed that the leader of the Saints will be joined on the silver screen by other prominent members of the gang, we still do not know who will replace the late Johnny Gat in the cast. A release date for this movie has not been announced. This is Jane Valderama with your Steelport Red Carpet News. Nightblade. Women love him, men want to be him, and tweens don't realize he's a bad influence on their sense of self. This violent portrayal of a vigilante vampire has some parental groups up in arms over what their children are being subjected to on TV. Public protests are being held to censor the show as public outcry against television violence takes hold in a city where real violence is bathing our streets in blood. This is Jane Valderama with your Steelport Reality Check. Another entertainment icon has collided with the reality of gang violence in Steelport. Nightblade has lent himself to the campaign to support Stag, despite the internet outcry from his millions of prepubescent fans who are equating Stag to the Cyprian Order. Josh Burke, the actor who portrays Nightblade, is scheduled to do several radio and TV commercials endorsing the Stag presence and their message to stop the Saints. There is no word yet on any Stag tie-in to the show. This is Jane Valderama with your Steelport Sellout News. Vigilante justice. What some Nightblade fans believe signing up with Stag will allow them to do. Hundreds of teenagers are being turned away from recruitment offices daily due to misguided beliefs that they too can be like Nightblade if they join Stag. Many of those shown the door come dressed in their own costumes, complete with illegal and highly dangerous weapons. Is the message being lost in the Nightblade craze? Evidence indicates it is. This is Jane Valderama with your Steelport Reality Check. Despite their enormous success as celebrities, the Saints have returned to their criminal roots with the public destruction of the Richard Hughes Memorial Bridge in Stillwater. This painful betrayal of their fans has rippled through the internet, with forums and celebrity sites being filled with comments that would make porn industry veterans blush. Former fans have been throwing away Saints merchandise by the truckload, covering waste disposal sites in a blanket of purple. Saints counsel, Legal Lee, was unavailable for comment. This is Jane Valderama with Know Your Terrorist. Like the public's hatred for the Saints, reports of gang violence have risen in Steelport. Police reports are being filed daily, detailing numerous felony charges for the now infamous celebrity gang. For those willing to admit being a witness, report any information on these crimes to the Steelport Police Department. Protection, however, cannot be guaranteed due to budget cuts. This is Jane Valderama with your Steelport Crime Report. According to recent blog entries and blurry cell phone pictures on the internet, Steelport is now playing host to key members of the 3rd Street Saints. A former criminal gang organization turned famous entrepreneurs with the merger of the Saints Altor Media Group. These stars have sold everything from clothing to energy drinks to themselves. With rumors of their upcoming movie, Gangsters in Space, being talked about by industry veterans and comic book nerds alike, could they be here to scout for fresh talent? More on this as information comes in. This is Jane Valderama with your Steelport Celebrity News. Rumor has it, contestants are being interviewed for the Saints dating show I Want to Sleep with Shondi, with a special airing being scheduled sometime after Murder Brawl. Young men and women are lining up for a screen test and a VD test in the hopes that they'll get a chance to spend a romantic evening with the star of the show. While no contestant has ever made it past the final round, hope springs eternal for these often desperate fans. A call to the Saints Altor Media Group has been unable to confirm any auditions are occurring. However, the star herself has been spotted by several amateur photogs in the area. Good luck, Shondi. I hope you find your partner in crime. This is Jane Valderama with your Steelport Celebrity News. Leaked copies of Pierce Washington's new demo tape have hit the streets, and the reviews, much like my evening cocktails, are mixed. Analysts expect the celebrity of the Saints to drive sales despite the unknown quality of the work. Similar expectations are being given for the upcoming movie Gangsters in Space, which is rumored to begin shooting in the coming months, though no lead actor has been cast. This is Jane Valderama with your Steelport Entertainment News. Unrest is increasing today as the constant sound of rifle fire is becoming the soundtrack of the city. Protesting the increase in armed guards walking the streets of Steelport, citizens have begun picketing several stag recruitment offices around the city. Cyrus Temple and Nightblade were unavailable for comment. This is Jane Valderama with your martial law update. Several stag recruitment offices have reported deer carcasses left on their doorsteps with rifles tied to their hoofs this morning, leaving many to fear government reprisal. While some claim that our woodland friends have taken to arms, the lack of forests in Steelport makes this unlikely. Has civil disobedience taken a ghoulish turn? In this reporter's opinion, probably. This is Jane Valderama with your Revolution News. With the recent increase in gang violence, citizens of Steelport have rallied in support of the Stag Initiative. Sprinting into town like a boy wizard's good luck charm, Stag has vowed to rid the city of the gangs which have caused our gutters to run red with blood. At the time, the exact statistics are unknown, but experts say crime will be dropping. This is Jane Valderama with your Steelport City News. Moths to a flame, tweens to Nightblade, and now citizens to Stag. Recruitment offices have seen an influx of people due to strong support for safer streets. All over the city, Stag is promising the average Joe they can make a difference in their community by taking up arms against crime. Local recruitment sites are taking applications around the clock. Those who felt overwhelmed by the gang violence are now being given a sense of empowerment and a gun in their hand. This is Jane Valderama with your Steelport Vigilante Watch. Like the estranged, uninvited uncle who shows up without warning, fall has reared its ugly head on Steelport. Wind off the bay has us seeing low temperatures, while autumn storms have been blowing overhead from inland. Make sure to plan accordingly when leaving the house each morning, or risk a cold, wet start to your day. This is Jane Valderama with your Steelport weather update. With Halloween quickly approaching, the race for this year's #1 costume is heating up. For the past 2 years, Johnny Gat has remained the #1 costume for the 12 to 31 set, but the popular saint has unexpected competition from Nightblade. While religious groups decry Nightblade's occult roots, the siren's call of 2 katanas appears to outweigh threats of eternal damnation. This is Jane Valderama with your holiday update. While for some cities, All Hallows Eve is a time for candy and children, in Steelport a different tradition has risen to prominence. Scantily clad women freezing outside of bars. As bloody canoness costumes fly off the shelves, health experts have issued warnings that pleather is not sufficient insulation. This is Jane Valderama with Skank Watch. With the coming holidays, the cold weather is giving us yet another reason to stay indoors with family and friends, or alone with a bottle of Chianti. City health officials, along with the police, are estimating a rise in the number of prostitution arrests as people seek alternative methods of staying warm. Just remember, the more people involved, the more body heat produced, and the larger chance for a trip to the free clinic. This is Jane Valderama with your Steelport holiday update. Like the atmosphere around a husband caught in the arms of another woman, November is proving to be bitter cold. Warm weather has been thrown out by the large cold front moving over the city, leaving homeless people thinking, quote, "Man, I wish I wasn't homeless," end quote. This is Jane Valderama with your Steelport weather update.